Hey, welcome back. Good to see you again. Hope you're all well. Thanks for joining the channel. Today on the bench I have a Yamaha natural sound AV receiver. This is HTR-6160. Now this is brought to me by a client. I normally don't do AV receivers. Just kind of despise them, to tell you the truth, but there are some good ones out there. I'm not going to comment on this one if it's good or bad. I have no idea. But this one he came in with a complaint that the volume control doesn't work. Now, right away I realized this doesn't have a potentiometer. This has a rotary encoder. So there is no potentiometer. So it's done electronically and through digital signals. But common fault with these AV receivers is they have a remote with them. That's their fault. And everybody uses the remote all day long and they never touch these controls. So they get gummed up, they get oxidized, they get... From lack of use, they just stop working. So we're going to go in and we're going to clean this control. If that's a problem, we don't know for sure, but let's plug it in and try it out. Let's see here. We have about 1 watt of standby. Okay, let's turn this on. You can see that it says main on. Clicked on, consuming about 60 watts. That's quite a bit for an AV receiver. But let's try this. So yeah, it works, but it's erratic and it's jumpy. It doesn't. Yeah, it's twitchy and erratic. So I think we go in here and we clean this rotary encoder. We should be okay. And then while we're in there, we'll look for anything else that is pure direct. This is probably a really nice receiver amplifier. Dropped to 47 watts when I turned that on. Let's turn that off. It climbs back up to about 60 watts. So pure direct probably shuts down a lot of internal circuitry and just pipes the signal straight to the amplifiers. I don't know. I'm guessing here. But that's the way I'd run it if I had a chance. And then we have our volume control. It is working. It is kind of skipping. And yeah. So let's open this up and have a look. Alright, let's remove the cover. Have a good look at this. Flip it over. It's nice and clean. There's no heat staining or any, it's relatively clean too. It wasn't, it's not covered with nicotine and crap, so it looks pretty good. Here's our internals. Looks pretty kind of dusty. You can see the dust here. We're going to take this outside and blow the dust out of it. There's a lot going on here in these AV receivers. Over here we have some kind of a video board. It's got S-video and composite video coming in. It's got a dock connector. I don't know what that does. This board here, looks like it's all audio inputs. Different inputs for audio. Got our let's see, we have CD, CDR, DVD, DirecTV, cable, DVR, VCR, and then we got our surround out inputs. Preamp out. There's 4 inputs there. Front, surround back, and subwoofer. Yeah, so it's very capable. Somewhat dated, but it's very capable. So I'm going to take the outside and blow the dust out of this. It's got quite a bit of dust. See, look at this. For the Nichicon fanboys, they're going to see some fine gold caps in here too. So Yamaha really knew what they were doing, right? So let's get the dust out of here, and then we'll go after that rotary encoder on the front panel, and we'll see what we can do for that. Alright, so I removed the encoder from the rest of the front panel. You can see here, he just desoldered 6 wires. remove the nut from the other side. Remove the nut and the plastic. They call this extraskin. Extraskin. I can't remember. That goes there as a nut. Take the nut off, and then it drops out. Desoldered. So here it is. It's on a little PCB board, and I desoldered the pins already. So let's remove this board because it's just in our way right now. There. Now, the only way to clean these is open them up. Gotta be careful here, there's little parts inside, so let's just open this up. Just bend back these 4 tangs. And then we'll see how it looks inside. Okay. So our retainer's removed. Oops. I'll remove this first. And then the 2 separate. Actually, it looks a little better than what I expected. It's not that bad. So let's clean this up. Part of what you don't want to do is clean out, see how it's stiff to turn. That's the damping fluid they use to give the knob a feel. But we're going to do a cleanup on these contacts and these contacts, and then give a little deox treatment, and then we're going to be done. So let's start with contact cleaner. And this will strip out all of the lubrication in here. Okay. Give it another treatment. All right. These are extremely fragile and thin, so you just give them a little wipe. Don't want to put any force on them because they will bend and break. You can see those little things. See how tiny those little fingers are? There should be 2 on each, and there's 3 sets, 3 pairs. Okay, clean that. This here we're going to give it a treatment with deoxit. We're going to give it a small amount. Distribute it. And then we can put this back together. So, how does this go again? I think it goes like this. Okay. Okay, before I crimp it down, I want to check. There's a little nub here on top. I want to make sure it's not supposed to be on the bottom. And that's according to how it goes on the printed circuit board. It only goes one way on the printed circuit board. Okay, so let me check. I'll be right back. So this little nub goes on the same side as the contacts, so I have to take this apart and just flip it over. And that should be it. Okay, just test this. Very good. Actually, I got this on wrong. already. Look at this. How did I do that? Okay, that's correct. This goes on from this side. Okay. Let's give this a try. All right. Let's finish this up. What I'm going to do is squeeze this in a vise. Squeeze it. Squeeze this just to snug it all up. Don't want to go too crazy on the and then push these down. Okay. Everything's tight. Nothing's loose. Perfect. Okay, this goes back here. Solder that back on and it can be put back into the receiver. Alright, so now that I have the front panel all fixed up, and I went through and checked for cracked solders, cleaned up the VFDs, the vacuum fluorescent displays. I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to focus on this. What I want to do is just rip it apart. I want to quickly check all these boards for cracked solders. I'm going to do some spot checks for caps. I'm not expecting to find anything, but if there's any heat zones, I'm definitely going to want to look at those. Check for caps. This thing's loaded with a million caps, so I don't want to get into a cap changing at Marathon. I'm just going to check and see if there's any bad ones. If there is, I'm going to deal with them. But I'm going to have to remove this back panel, and that's going to be about 100 screws. It won't be bad if I use my drill. I'll just take them all out. And then we can look at each board individually, put it back together, and call it a day. And hopefully we're done. So I haven't been finding any bad caps in here. I didn't expect to find any, but you got to check them anyways because you never know, depending on how much hours this thing has. This little board here was tacked on to the upper part of the heatsink. This is a voltage regulator board. It's got voltage regulators. It's got and some pass transistors. And I checked all these caps. They're all good. But I did look on the back side, and some of these joints. This is a single-sided board, so some of these joints look like they need to be touched up, especially on some of these power devices. So I'm going to go through and resolder all of these, and that's pretty much it. And I really don't see a reason to tear it apart any further because I'm not really getting into anything bad here. So I'm just going to put it back together and we'll give it a test. Alright, we're back together again. Let's turn it on and try it out. I do have it's set up to work on CD. Where's my inputs? CD. There it is. Volume control works nice. It's a lot better than it was before. It wasn't jumping around, and it's responsive. Goes right down to -80. Ignore that noise, that's my dead speaker. It's protesting. So, I'm going to call this one done. I'm going to close this one up. As I said, the bottom line. Oh, the bottom L in. Bottom L in. I don't know. tuner. Okay. Yeah, I think it's working just fine. Let's turn it. Sirius satellite. Multi-channel, VCR. There's no FM on this thing? There should be. Tuner. Okay. Alright, closing this one up. So thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.